We've all heard terms like wokeism and virtue signaling, moralizing, all these kinds of things. They abound today. And so that's why I've decided to teach a course called Hypocrisy, Sloth, and Pride, a philosophical examination of sin and vice. And in this course, we're going to look at some of the great hypocrites of literary history, such as those by Shakespeare in his great work King Lear, Dickens in his great Mr. Pecksniff, and of course Tartuffe by the writer Molière. We're also going to look at the notion of sin as well, the sin of sloth, which is a subversion of the soul, says Aquinas, and the sin of pride, another kind of subversion of the soul. But this leads to the question of what do we do about these vices and these sins? Well, Mandeville wrote a great little poem centuries ago called The Fable of the Bees. And in the place there's these bees, and they're all worried about the vices, and they're grumbling until the great god Jupiter decides to make them all virtuous. The eradication of vice. Well, what happens? The hive collapses, suggesting that no matter what we might like to think, there seems to be a role for the vices. And Tolkien, in his work, The Lord of the Rings, picks up on this idea, saying that rather nasty little character Gollum has indeed an evil soul, but still has a role to play in the greater good. And this will lead us into a larger discussion of the nature of the soul, the nature of good and evil within us. The conservative tradition tends to see us as kind of, bad cases that just need to be managed. You can't get rid of it. Edmund Burke, David Hume tend to say, well, the best we can do is mitigate it, put restraints on it. You can't eradicate it. Other thinkers, more like Rousseau and Mill, were more, no, the soul is malleable. We can do better. We can eradicate this, make things better. What's the conclusion of this? Well, it's hard to say. We'll find out. We'll investigate it and think it through. But there seems to be a link in the end. As Rochefoucauld says, that hypocrisy is the compliment, the homage that vice pays to virtue. These things are linked. And in this course, we're going to look at how and think our way through it. Thank you.